Today we're going to be blowing up all of our opponent's lands and maybe even getting some flawless victories, but in Standard. Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron, and it's time for another edition in our first Outlaws of Thunder Junction edition of Much Abrew About Nothing. And this week we are doing one of my all-time favorite things in Magic, which is trying to blow up all of our opponent's lands, but we're doing this in Standard, which is wild because Wizards just doesn't give us land destruction in Standard anymore. But thanks to Outlaws of Thunder Junction, we actually got two new, pretty powerful, at least by modern standards, land destruction spells. So let's talk about this deck, what it's trying to do, jump into some games, and see how many lands we can blow up. So our two land destruction spells are Territory Forge and Boombox. So if you've been playing Magic forever, you gotta remember, it's 2024 Magic. You shouldn't be expecting sinkholes and strip mines and even stone rains. Wizards just doesn't give us land destruction like that anymore. But based on modern standards, the last 10 years of card design, Territory Forge and Boombox are actually pretty good for standard land destruction. Territory Forge comes down for 5 mana, exiles an artifact or a land if we cast it, and then it has all the activated abilities of the exiled card. So essentially, this is pretty much a 5 mana land destruction spell with the upside of exiling and hitting an artifact if we need to, that turns into a mana rock, because if we exile a land, we get its activated ability, which is tapping for mana. So that ramps us into stuff like Boombox. Boombox might not look like much, but is actually the scariest card in our deck as far as blowing up lands. 2 mana to cast, and then for 6 we can sack it and blow up an artifact, a creature, in a land. So what makes Boombox so scary is we have multiple ways we can loop this in our deck. So one is Esoteric Duplicator, 3 mana artifact that when we sack an artifact, we can pay 2 to get a token copy of it on our end step. So if we get up to 8 mana in the late game, what we can do is pay 6 to Boombox, blow up an artifact, creature, and land, and then pay 2 for Duplicator to get a Boombox on our end step, and then the next turn we can Boombox, blow up an artifact, creature, and land, pay 2, get a copy of it. So essentially we just hard lock our opponent out of the game and can even get some flawless victories with this plan. We also have Fabrication Foundry, which is not as good at looping things as Esoteric Duplicator, but it can kind of do that with its last mode where we can exile some artifacts to get an artifact back from our graveyard. The downside of this is it's going to run out so eventually. We'll exile all of our artifacts, but it is a way we can get back a Boombox a few times by sacking some useless artifacts. Plus, Fabrication Foundry ramps us into things like Territory Forge, which is really, really big. We also have a bunch of artifact-based removal. So the big new addition, Legion Extruder. This card's basically like Artifact Bone Crusher Giant, and it plays so incredibly well in the deck. ETB's 2 damage to something, so with 2 mana shock, just like Bone Crusher Giant, and then we pay 2, sack an artifact to make it 3/3. So this is the way we can sack useless artifacts like Spring-Loaded Saw Blades. We play it to be a removal spell. It comes down 5 damage to a tap creature, and then we can sack it to Legion Extruder to make a Golem out of it and kind of build a Bone Crusher. Braided Net taps stuff down, draws us cards. Unstable Glyph Bridge, we can sack it, also kind of a Wrath winning ETBs. And then as far as actually winning the game, if we can't just get our opponent to scoop in frustration, we just make some big Karnstruct. So we have Thousand Moon Smithy, which has been around for a while. ETBs makes a Karnstruct, but the big new addition is Simulacrum Synthesizer, and this card is kind of wild. So 3 mana artifact, ETBs we scry 2, and whenever another artifact with mana value 3 or greater ETBs, we get to make a Karnstruct. This card adds so much power to the battlefield so quickly, and it works so well with our plan because we already want to be casting Braided Nets and Glyph Bridges to stay alive, and now we get a Karnstruct out of them. We already want to be casting Territory Forge to exile our opponent's lands, Esoteric Duplicator for our combo pieces, and now they're also making Karnstructs. So this is exactly what our deck needs, and one of the big upsides of this deck is we can win games land destruction flawless victory style, where we just lock our opponent out of doing anything, but we also can get these random free wins where we just throw out 2 or 3 Simulacrum Synthesizers and we just cast stuff, and next thing you know we have 7 10/10s on the battlefield or something. It gets out of control really, really quickly. Otherwise, we got a Chimmel because Chimmel's sweet, and who doesn't like discovering stuff? Mana base, I'm not going to talk about every single land. Look at the deck list if you want to see it, but it's a pile of Jeskai colored lads. And that is Artifact Land Destruction for Standard. That's our Much Abrew deck for this week. So let's jump into some games and see just how many lands we can blow up. Is it actually possible, thanks to Outlaws of Thunder Junction, to get flawless victories in Standard? That's what we're going to find out today. So thanks for watching, everyone. Enjoy the gameplay, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. It is new standard time, and we are doing my favorite thing in all of Magic, which is trying to blow up all of our opponent's lands, and that's double boombox. We will keep this, and we have ramp to get to it. This hand actually is kind of sweet. If we can get up to 6 mana, look out, opponent. Opponent leads on a Triome. That's a good sign. That means our opponent's probably not aggro, at least, so we probably have some time to get things set up. Opponent, land and Bristly Bill. Well, we got a bunch of ways to kill that. I will say Legion Extruder, I think, I thought it would be good, but it's really overperformed my expectations. Get down the boombox. The card, I think, is actually really good, especially if you have things to sack to it, but opponent with the tap land. I mean, we're up to 5 mana. All right, let's forge us a little bit of territory here. The reason that this deck exists comes down, exiles your Triome, and now this is part of the, well, opponent's gonna make it 2/2. All right, you got us, opponent. And part of the way this deck snowballs is now we get mana from the Territory Forge, which we can use to activate the boombox. So next turn we can blow up the land and the oh my goodness, another tap land. Oh, this this is a brutality. This is a brutality. We will blow up 0 artifacts, 1 token, and your white source. And we got another one in hand. We got another one. All we need is a way to loop it. I mean, I guess we actually have our Fabrication Foundry, so we can start sacking artifacts to Fabrication Foundry to get back the boombox and just do it every turn. Unfortunately, we're 1 mana short of playing and activating boombox this turn, so I guess we just get down the boombox, get down the extruder, because that's an artifact we can sack to get back the boombox. Pass the turn. Well, opponent needs to do something big here, and it's got to not be a creature or else it just gets boomboxed. Wow, are we passing? Are we just shipping the turn? You know what, let's just Glyph Bridge. Put another artifact on the battlefield, blow up nothing. Your go, opponent. And the GG's. Well, land destruction is back. Land destruction time in standard. I can't believe WotC actually gave us not 1, but 2 I mean, by 2024 standards, semi-legit land destruction spells. That sounds fine. We got the boombox. We got a Shimmel if we get to it. A little bit of removal. But I can't believe they printed 2 not god-awful land destruction spells. Not good. It's not like we got Stone Rain or Sinkhole or, you know, Strip Mine, but good enough. Good enough that we can build decks around it and make opponents miserable. Well, let's play the Surveil land. I mean, we got to keep the Territory Forge. That's the whole reason we're playing this deck. I will keep that on top and lose if necessary. Totally worth it. Opponent, Dimir. Opponent, Schwamp. Well, play the island, and I don't think we're going to run out the extruder. There could be things to kill. Intimidation Campaign. I am not convinced Intimidation Campaign is any good. I can't get over, yeah, we might as well, I guess, play the Duplicator. It doesn't do anything right away, but it might eventually. It is a nice lock piece with Boombox once we get a bunch of mana. Swamp for our opponent. Interesting. Yeah, not really sold on. Oh, we really need to draw land here. That will do, pig. That will do. Do we have to kill the Kaido? I want to just blow up a land. You know what? You can have your Kaido for a turn. You can draw your cards. Hopefully you can't cast them because you don't have the lands. Plus this ramps us, so this gets us to Boombox next turn. Yeah, I'm not really sold on this new campaign being good. Like, if you think about it, it's 3 mana draw 1. I know it's repeatable, but you're repeating a 3 mana draw 1. Like, do you really want to be spending 3 mana draw 1 repeatedly? Opponent gonna pick up their Dork to double draw with Kaido. Well, lots of lands. Forsaken Miner, but can you do anything with them? Call it Conscript. Lots of skeletons. People love the idea of skeletons. Opponent runs out. Now what? This is actually kind of awkward, right? So we can kill a bunch of stuff, like take the turn off, kill Kaido, kill the Conscript maybe. We need 1 more mana and we can Boombox and copy the Boombox with Duplicator. We could just play Shimmel and start getting value, but that risks us falling pretty far behind here. We probably got to kill the Kaido now, I guess. Yeah. We can also do some shenanigans where we have the Duplicator now, so we can sack things to Legion Extruder to make 3/3s and then get copies of the things with Duplicator. I think we do now, so we get the copy on our end step. Is it better to, yeah, I guess it's better to do it instant speed, right? Like we would get the copy on our end step, but where are we gonna get another boombox that we can't use? Yeah, we'll just pass. We'll see what our opponent does. This also lets us leave up the spring-loaded saw blades. Opponent. All right, so now we will sacrifice the boombox, pay 2 to get it back on our end step in token form, make it 3/3. One of the nice things about this 3/3 being an artifact, well, they have Urtai, okay. I was gonna say, a lot of decks are playing Go for the Throat, which just cannot kill the artifact creatures. So opponent, gonna Urtai, kill the door, crime us. We get to draw. All right, Braided Net's not the worst. We are down to 9 though. 9 is, ooh, okay. Simulacrum Synthesizer helps. So we can Simulacrum Synthesizer. As much as I love Territory Forge, we have the Boombox Loop. Well, can we really put it to the bottom? This is like our key card. We definitely need the land for the Boombox Loop. Yeah, I think we have enough land destruction by looping Boombox. So we need artifacts mana value 3 or greater to enter the battlefield to make constructs. So we can sack the Forge to make a 3/3, pay the 2 to get back the Forge to make a construct, and now at least we have some blockers. We do cost ourselves a mana because Territory Forge, oh boy, if this triggered on ETB, even if it wasn't cast, my god, would that be a card. All right, opponent, going to draw a card for 3 mana. I mean, the drain, I guess, is getting relevant here. Another intimidation campaign. Down to 7. That is not the highest amount of life. Well, we're gonna block, and we're gonna block, and we're gonna drop to 3. Not good, not good. Okay, there's the land. I mean, we can make a, maybe the constructs can just race. So we need to not take any damage. So we can play Braided Net, make a construct. The constructs get big. That's one of the things I like about this deck is we can turn the corner very quickly. Like when we need to get in win the game mode, the constructs let us get into kill you mode really fast. Down to 16. Also, Skeleton's not very good at blocking. So now we can, I guess, do the trick, sack the Forge, make a 3/3, get back the Forge, make a construct on our end step. All right, please don't have direct damage. I mean, we're not gonna die to creatures, I don't think. We have so many like we went from nothing to having just like 30 power on board in like a turn cycle here. Ooh, Gisa, all right. Oh, can they crime us? As long as they can't crime us, this is fine. I guess even if they crime us, the zombies are tapped, right? So we might just be good. There's also some neat tricks with like Braided Net, being able to like use all the counters, but then get a token copy to reset it. Tap down a skeleton. We can't really target Gisa because of the ward. Do we just win if we attack? Do we need to do anything? That can't block, so all they have is Gisa. Opponent can block 1. They need a 1 mana removal spell to maybe stay alive. They're gonna block a construct. Yeah, Forsaken Miner. Good 1-drop, but can't block, and wow. Okay, well, we didn't blow up as many lands as I would have liked, but constructs for the save. We were so close to being dead. Maybe this deck's kind of sweet. Sweet. Playing some Territory Forge Boombox artifact land destruction. This hand we're gonna keep. The risk of this hand is we only have 2 lands, and our big payoffs are like 5 and 6 mana. This deck's pretty mana hungry, so all right, that's a land, that's good. We do need to keep drawing lands. Opponent starts on a forest, okay, and Bristly Bill. Well, Legion Extruder will handle that before it snowballs. Legion Extruder is so good. It's so good. Snipe it. Bristly Bill. I think Bristly Bill is also good. Although, we'll see what our opponent does here. If they have a follow-up. Okay, they have a lookout. That makes sense. That we can't currently kill. Let's just get down the Fabrication Foundry. If they attack with it, we can kill it. Also, WotC trying to get rid of Sneaky Reach. You'll see during our opponent's turn, it doesn't happen, but if this lookout's alive during our turn, you can see there's a new animation for it. Wow. The bounce land against the land destruction deck? Opponent. Opponent. Well, let's spring-loaded saw blades. We want to get rid of this ramp spell. We don't really want our opponent putting more lands into play when we're trying to blow up lands. That's brutal. Hitting that bounce land with the Territory Forge would be so incredibly good here, but instead we will play a duplicator that doesn't do anything. Oh, that bounce land is such a juicy target. Magic gods. Can we just draw land? All right, draw this, or make some mana with the Outcast Trailblazer. The Goose Mother. All right, that's kind of an issue. That is a 6. 3 forges, 3 lands. Oh, this hand would be popping off if we drew one more land. Oh goodness, it'd be so good. Well, now we're actually kind of in a very bad spot. We have a spring-loaded Sawblade that can kill the 4/2. We can also make a 3/3 to kill the 4/2, which is probably better. There might be a way we can, because we can sack this and then get it back with the Esoteric Duplicator. So let's sack it, so Duplicator. We get it back anyway. So we can get back the spring-loaded Sawblades on our end step. Wait, why didn't it give us the option? Why couldn't we pay the 2? I'm so confused. Well, oh, Fabrication Foundry doesn't do what we wanted. Interesting. Fabrication Foundry makes mana to cast artifacts or to activate an ability of an artifact. Apparently, a triggered ability doesn't count. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, oh geez, this turn. I mean, we were in bad shape anyway, but this went disastrously. Oh, the funny thing is we could have just used the Foundry to pay for the extruder. We could have just paid for the extruder and done the way we wanted, but, well, all right, Thousand Moon Smithy. Yeah, this is kind of falling apart here. I mean, the big issue is this Goose Mother. I can't believe I'm saying that, but we are actually getting just, like, hard smacked by this Goose Mother. The six toughness dodges a lot of our removal. Opponent gets in. 6 is a smigs of food. Well, we need a top deck. We need a top deck. The problem is we don't even have enough mana for the... And the rub-ins. The Wrath is drawn. Well, the real problem there is we only drew 3 lands all game. If we drew one more land, that game would have went so different. We are trying to blow up some lands in Standard, and this hand looks kind of insane. Ramp into Territory Forge and a Boombox and a removal spell. Opponent leads on the fast. Ooh, double Forge. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. This might be a quick one. This might be a quick one. Opponent going to consider. I mean, we have 3 land destruction spells in hand, and we can ramp into it. We need one more land to start forging. Oh, opponent. Is this the Helping Hands deck? It's probably the help. Ooh. Well, Simulacrum's good. Hopefully it doesn't get countered. Like, Simulacrum is good in multiple ways. Like, it scries for the land that we need, and it's going to start making constructs. All right, opponent. No, ooh, no counter. Okay. If we haven't... Oh, no. If we have another game where we end up 1 land short of casting our Territory Forges, I'm going to be so salty. That's, like, exactly how we lost last game. All right. This has got to be Helping Hands, right? The, like, reanimate my Haughty Jin or whatever mentor deck. Well, there's a Helping Hands. Okay, so it is definitely Helping Hands. 1 in the graveyard's good, and no creatures in the graveyard's good. Opponent plays a land, and Monastery Mentor. All right, can we just... Thank you, Magic Gods. All right, there's the land. Well, that Mentor is going to live, but if we can blow up enough lands, maybe our opponent just won't be able to cast any spells. Yeah, let's eat a fast land. Claim a little bit of forge a bit of territory, let's say. And we get a 4/4 as a bonus. That's a pretty good land destruction spell, actually. Make it, well, all right, opponent's gonna Fading Hope. Boo. But make a 4/4, eat a land, and get a mana rock out of it. That's actually not the worst for 5 mana. I'm gonna do some scrying to the top. All right, I presume that might be a land. Opponent plays the plains, gets in. Well, we came here to do a thing, and I think we keep doing the thing. Spring-loaded Sawblades to kill the Mentor and Territory Forge another land. I think we're gonna Sawblades first. Our opponent shouldn't, there's no way they can cast enough spells to pump it. All right, they're just gonna Prankster. So I get another token. We do need to be aware of these prowess tokens. But if we keep our opponent pinched on mana, they shouldn't be able to have too big of a turn. Yeah, opponent, ooh, Mentor in the graveyard. Double Mentor in the graveyard. Well, let's forge a bit more territory. Make another Construct, grab the fast land, make a 6/6. Also, like, Simulacrum's kind of ridiculous. Like, the artifacts from the big score are kind of insane. Helping it. The sad thing is, farewell. Ooh, Giralf A. And another chill with the Fading Hopes opponent, my god. Our constructs keep getting bounced. Well, I mean, we can boombox, right? We can boombox, blow up the draw and another, and a synthesizer. I mean, I think we gotta blow up the draw in a land. We're at 11, so we're not dying yet. So, no artifact, one Giraffe, one island. Blow 'em up, blow 'em up. I mean, our opponent's at one land. We were doing our job. Is it enough to win the game, though? Or has our opponent made enough bodies that they can kill us even oh, no. Oh, all right. Giraffe returns down to 5. That's a land. Well, go constructs. That is a glyph bridge. That's actually exactly what we needed here. Yeah, I think we just wait. Well, do they have a 1-mana spell? Block the giraffe. If they do, we die. All right, so we go to 1. We go to 1. We draw the glyph bridge, though, and we can stack the triggers so we get our constructs after. So we might be good. Get in, hit you, down to 13. So play the glyph bridge. Yeah, it's one of the upsides of Simulacrum. So we can have the glyph bridge resolve first. Wrath our opponent down to 1 token. And then we'll get our constructs. Well, all right, opponent. We probably do get something back. Yeah, let's sack this saw blade to get back the boombox for next turn. To get a literal, we can get a literal flawless victory here. If our opponent doesn't draw land, we just blow up the creature in the land. we're about to get a I mean, I think that counts. Our opponent scooped, but we're about to get a literal flawless victory in standard. No lands, no creatures. That is the power of boombox. That is the power of boombox. We are blowing up some lands in standard, playing some boombox and forging some territory. And this hand looks fine. We got a boombox. We got a simulacrum to make some dorks. Actually, this might be a construct game. That is one of the things about this deck is we are a land destruction deck. That's kind of our main goal. But we also have some games where it's just like, we just make a bunch of constructs and run you over. And that might be one of those games. When you have simulacrum into Thousand Moon Smithy, that is a lot of bodies. Simulacrum. Scry 2. Yeah, I guess we'll keep those. I really like Fabrication Foundry in the late game with boombox. Like, the loop is pretty sweet. Opponent going to 3S. Sure. And Kaido Shizuke draws a card. Well, here comes the constructs. Thousand Moon Smithy. So we get one from the Smithy, and then another from the Simulacrum. So we make, what, 2 5/5s? Not bad. Opponent reading Simulacrum. Yep, it's kind of insane. I think that card's actually, oh boy, it's really good. These artifacts in general, I think, are better than people are realizing, especially if you match them all together. But a lot of these artifacts, I think, are actually very solid. Does a little, oh no, are we going to get, like, reenact the crimed? Are we going to get crimed? I guess there's not enough blue mana. The Trox in the graveyard, though, does scare me a bit. Our next turn's not going to be great, like at all. Well, we could tap everything. I don't think we do, though. I think we wait. Let's play Fabrication Foundry. It's okay, Bear. We're doing all right, bud. We're doing all right. Play a Stormcarved Coast. Get down the Duplicator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, we're close. We're like 2 mana away from the Duplicator lock. I mean, more importantly, we're going to smash it for 16 here. That's fine. All right, well, I mean, we were just, like, presenting lethal. So our opponent needs a Wrath or an Atraxa or, yeah, go for the throat. Not good against us. Yeah, opponent's going to loot. Kind of comes out of this. Our opponent needs something really good here. Brotherhood End would be an incredible blowout. That would get us good. Wow, that would get us really good. I mean, is a risk to playing an all artifact deck, right? Farewell gets it. Brotherhood End gets it. Opponent discards, yes, it's desperation mode. Discards a land, to the blood, Corpse Appraiser. And I think that's just game, right? Because we got the boombox. So we just boombox away the Corpse Appraiser in a land and get you. Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, that's one of the upsides. Like, this game, I guess we're technically going to blow up one land with boombox. But we, like, didn't even need to blow up lands. We just made these huge constructs, and the huge constructs were enough. So get the Corpse Appraiser, get the untap land. Unfortunately, can't do the loop, but Doesn't really matter if our opponent's dead, and that looks like 21 to me. Going to the face, and Karnstrucks. Pretty good, even in standard. Seems okay. Hopefully these glyph bridges are good. We don't really have any land destruction, but opponent, Valve Sleeper. Well, snipe that with the Legion Extruder. The worst shock ever, but actually one of the best cards in the deck. So, mono black? Caustic, I have seen a lot of people playing Caustic Bronco, and I don't know. I mean, it can snowball, right? But you got to be able to attack with a 2/2 with no actual evasion, which does not seem that easy. It seems like they always print these bad Dark Confidants, the bad Bobs, and have any of them actually been good? I'm trying to think of a single one. Ooh. All right, opponent's going to draw 3 with the Insatiable Avarice. We're going to miss a land drop. Well, I guess we can keep braided netting, but I mean, we can tap you for days. Unfortunately, oh no, oh, it's got to be the combo. Ooh, okay. This is not great. Land, please. All right, so we do hit the land. Also, very awkward that Bloodletter of Aclazotz is 2 toughness or power. If they go for the combo, we can survive because we can tap the Bloodletter and then spring. Well, okay, they're going for it. Well, that's the Rush of Dread combo. So we got to tap down the Bloodletter. If you haven't seen this, Rush of Dread makes you lose half your life, and then Bloodletter doubles that up, so it's half and half is whole, essentially. You lose all your life. Tap the Bronco again. Well, we survived round 1. We're down to 9. Oh, maybe this deck wants like one more land. We've had a couple of losses where we get stuck on 4 mana and just cannot get to the Territory Fortune time. Maybe we want one more. Maybe the Iron Crag. We're not playing Iron Crag. Maybe we just double down on 2 mana ramp. All right, there's a Gix. We really need a land so we can wrath away most of our opponent's board. This Bronco has done nothing. We've done a good job of tapping that. All right, come on, deck. Come on, deck. Let's sack this Saw Blade, make a 3/3. Do it now in case we draw a land to be able to cast something during our turn. A blocker is relevant. Okay, Fabrication Foundry is technically a source of mana. It's a little slower than we were hoping. But for next turn, that does get us to our 5s. What are we, like 2 turns behind our opponent? I mean, the Forge will catch us back up if we can do it without oh no. Take Numa to get back, I assume, the Bloodletter. Yeah, Bloodletter's actually, like, kind of uniquely problematic because our Wrath leaves something behind with power 2 or less. So we can't Wrath away a Bloodletter if that's the only creature on the battlefield. Rush of Dread, sack half your creatures, lose half your life. They've run a lot of Rush of Dreads. So we lose our Dork, since it's rounded up. We go to, what, 4, 5? 4, yeah. So I think what we do is tap the Bronco. If they attack with Gix, we make a blocker, sacking, I guess, a Braided Net. We went through 2 Braided Nets, and we're still not able to answer it. Well, I mean, I guess what else can we do? Unstable Glyph Bridge doesn't do anything. I mean, I guess we can pass and like sack an artifact. We can flip the Braided Net to draw some cards eventually. Maybe we we can get back the Braided Net. That's probably what we got to do. Yeah, or we can get back the Spring-Loaded Saw Blades and just kill the Bronco. Maybe that's better. I think that's our best bet. They've already used 2 Rush of Dreads, right? Oh, this is still awkward. Let's get back the Saw Blade. Snipe the Bronco. The problem is, I don't know how we deal with this Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Our Wrath can't kill it. We can't get back the Braided Net. So now we might just, there's a Bloodletter. We might just lose to this Bloodletter. Opponent passes. We don't have a high enough mana value artifact to get back the Braided Net. That's a new combo. I think it could be legit in standard, so if you see Bloodletter Aclazotz, keep it in mind, because they can get you. The most common way we've lost with this deck is not hitting our land drops, but we do have a surveil land. We gotta try it. We're on the draw, we got a surveil land. Well, that's a boombox. Technically, a lot of mana to actually do anything. As long as we get one land, we get to the simulacrum, which should find us more lands and get us to hopefully the glyph bridge to stabilize if necessary. Well, we came here to Territory Forge, but right now we need the lands. 5 mana land destruction, not good if you only have 2 lands. That's, if there's one lesson you take from today's video. Ooh, Bramble Familiar. Well, guess what? We got a little extruder for that. This card actually snipes a lot. I know I've talked about it multiple times during the video, but I keep becoming more and more impressed with Legion Extruder. Card's sweet. Opponent passes. Whew. All right. Do you have a counter? I promise. Well, all right. 3 steps ahead. I mean, you gotta keep it off the battlefield. That card, it makes it too easy to make big constructs. Opponent. Flibblethip. Well, we got a Territory Forge anyway. All right. Can we scry into some lands, please? Well, we gotta mill another, or scry to the bottom another forge, but we did find a land. Unfortunately, it's a tap land, so it's coming into play tap next turn. So Flibblethip lets our opponent plot off the top of their deck. I have seen some cool plot shenanigans. There are some cool tricks for it. Even outside of like Slick Shot Show Off, there's some cool things you can do with plot cards. Combat hits us for 1 with Flibblethip. Well, Seachrome Ghost. We can't even pay the ward to kill Flibblethip, so I guess we just boombox. Ward's actually kind of obnoxious here. It is 6 mana deck. Ooh, Intrude on the Mind. Flibblethip, Archmage's Archmage's Newt. Fading Hope and some lands. So, Fading Hope, Archmage's Newt land, or land Flibblethip. I think we give him land Flibblethip. Flibblethip is legendary, so they only have 1 of them. So it was kind of 5 mana, make a 3/3, draw a land. Not that great. Opponent plays the tap land. I'm surprised we haven't seen more Intrude up. Ooh, the Doctor. I actually think the that card has a lot of potential. Like 2 mana, 2/3 is not the worst stats. Oh god, Archmage's Newt. And we draw a tap land. All right. Well, we can do some shenanigans. We make a 3/3. We would prefer not to get hit by this Newt. It's doubly so if it's saddled. I don't know who rides a Newt, but if our opponent does, what are we plotting? Oh god, Step Between Worlds? Ah! Okay. So, let's see, 1, 2. I guess we can Saw Blades first? Yeah, let's Saw Blades. And then we can sack the Saw Blades. So Saw Blades, kill the 3/3. And then Extruder, sack the Saw Blades, make a 3/3. And we're just gonna get rid of the new... I mean, they can't even really... Oh, they can flashback Fading Hope? Yeah, we'll kill the Newt. I don't know, Newt is scary. It might have been better to block the dock, but I assume our opponent's gonna wheel here. I mean, Wrathing doesn't do much at this point. I guess we just eat a land. Like, our opponent's gonna have 7 new cards. If we can restrict their mana, maybe they just won't be able to cast them. So we get a construct. It's a 6/6. We claim some territory, hit you down to 17. All right, Step Between Worlds. I mean, yes, we would like to draw a new hand. And, yeah. Oh, wow, double Simulacrum Synthesizer. Okay, and a bunch of lands. I'm not sure that wheel benefited our opponent more than it benefited us, honestly. I think it might actually be more beneficial to us than our opponent. If you got some sort of plan for it, like a combo, I think it could be good. But I'm really not sure about just like firing off a time twister for no real purpose. It's just so, even if you have all your mana up, which is the upside, right? You can plot it so then you have access to your mana first, unless you're going to use that mana to win the game, like combo off and win the game. I'm just not convinced it's worth pondering. Yeehaw. God, this set, I swear. Wow, they're going to blow up the boombox. Opponent is not afraid of the constructs, apparently. Okay, or more afraid of the boombox. I mean, I guess that makes sense. No one likes getting their lands blown up. And we... The magic gods just really want the boombox. Jin-Gitaxias. So opponent needs 7 cards in hand to flip it. I mean, flipping it would be bad, but... Huh? Oh, okay. Opponent, Fading Hope on the construct. Sure. Well, I think all of this is fine. We draw another Boombox. That needs 7 cards, right? 4 mana and 7 cards in hand. So we don't really have to worry about it flipping. It might incidentally draw some cards, but the correct play is probably, it's probably just correct to run out a bunch of synthesizers. I mean, we just make a huge board here, right? Braided Net, Glyph Bridge. Yeah, I guess we'll keep them both. The Glyph Bridge, we don't want to cast currently, but I could imagine a world where we want to cast it. So let's Simulacrum into Territory Forge. Snag a land. This is like the best of both worlds. We don't get quite as many constructs, but honestly, they're so big. How many do we really need? And we get to keep eating lands. And this is looking kind of bad for our opponent because we can also Boombox next turn with the mana from our territory forging. Yeah, I don't know about Jin Gataxias. I guess it's cute with plot is the idea. You can plot some stuff and then cast it and draw a bunch of spells. Like, the idea of it's cool. I'm just not sure what our opponent's deck is like. What is it really trying to do? Kellen. Like, we haven't really... Archmage is new. We haven't really seen Flibblethip do anything. We haven't really seen Doc do anything. I don't know. Opponent has a lot of interesting cards, but they must be missing, like, some sort of important piece of the puzzle. Well, Boombox. Here we go, and we will blow up not an artifact, a let's get the Newt, I guess. It doesn't really, actually, maybe we just do this. Let's make some more constructs to make our constructs bigger. Keep the Braided Net. Play the Braided Net. I don't even think we really need a Boombox here. We just add an absurd amount of power to the battlefield. Yes, those are 17/17s, and there are 8 of them. Your go. Opponent has to block every single one of them. And now we can use a Braided Net to tap down the Kellen. The Kellen would be able to blow up one of our artifacts, which is annoying, but... Well, opponent, you need your Simic Wrath. Show us a Simic Wrath or accept your demise. And that's one of the cool things about these land destruction spells is... Even when we don't get, like, the flawless victory, which is obviously the dream, and it's sweet when it happens. Wow. Fire it off. Draw in 3, 2, 1. Yeehaw! But restricting your opponent's mana still has value, right? It's harder for our opponent to execute their game plan without lands. We've seen that when we miss our land drops. We're doing that to our opponent. I think the constructs are about to get the job done. We could cast more things, but we will respectfully just hit our opponent for 100-ish. Whew. Well, our opponent's deck was interesting. I'm not sure exactly what it was trying to achieve, but in the end, the land destruction holds. And up against Swayze, eh? Gonna get roundhoused? No. What does Swayze do? Dance? I don't even know. All I know about Swayze is Trailer Park Boys. his model trains. What was he in? Dancing with Wolves? Dancing? Dirty Dancing? Maybe Dirty Dancing. He's a dancer guy, right? Oh, wait. Was he the guy in the Chippendales sketch with Chris Farley? Maybe I do know who Swayze is. All right. Anyway, let's blow up some lands. Looking to be Naya A. Well, our hand, we have a Territory Forge, which can come down on turn 4, which is nice. Beyond that, we got a bunch of removal, which I'm not sure how much it's doing. Ooh, all right, well, Forge into Forge is sweet. Forge number 1, opponent. How would you like to go back down to 3 lands? I kind of want to do a yeehaw, but I feel too guilty if I emote. But if there was ever a... a card that deserves a yeehaw, it's Territory Forging your opponent back down to 2 mana. Oh, they're a Smuggler Surprise deck. That's actually kind of huge for our opponent, because that just gets them back 2 lands. Like, Smuggler Surprise, even when it's not going off, just like draw 2 lands for 3 mana is going to be super relevant for our opponent here. This is going to make it hard to actually completely mana screw them unless we can get like the Moonbox loop set up. Then we might be able to. Unfortunately, fortunately, we got another Territory Forge, and we can snipe the red source. Unfortunately, our hand's not doing anything beyond this. We're not making any constructs. We're not drawing any cards. We have a bunch of spring-loaded saw blades. I guess our plan is going to be to get down this extruder and start making 3/3s. I feel like we need a clock, because if our opponent gets up to 6 mana, they're going to Smuggler's Surprise. Ooh, I mean, Boombox is great, and we can't activate it. The problem is, we just don't have a clock. We don't have a clock at the moment. Just blowing up lands without being able to do anything is not necessarily enough to win the game. It's kind of like Modern Blood Moon. We can sack it to the extruder. Yeah, it probably would have been better to do that instant speed. We're not going to kill anything with it. We're going to run it out so we can sack it anyway, but I guess there was no reason to do a main phase. Hulking Raptor. Well, I mean, we can boombox that, right? But let's make it 3/3. I feel like we do need a clock. And I don't think these spring-loaded saw blades are going to do anything, because if they get to smugglers, even more of them. I think we have exactly 8 mana, so we should be able to boombox, get rid of the raptor. Yeah, we can pay the ward, just barely. And blow up the red source again. All right, and then hit you for 3. So we kind of got a clock. Like, our opponent's at 3 mana still on, I don't even know, turn 6 or 7 or something. So we're doing our job. Is our clock fast enough? This is where the constructs come in, right? If we can pitch our opponent's mana like this, but we also have a construct. Oh boy. All right. More land destruction. So the big number for Smuggler's Surprise is 6. That's the number that lets our opponent dump things into play. So I think we can wait. Maybe they play a creature. All right, they don't. I think we have to do it. I think we have to keep them off of 6 mana. Well, 8 mana to blow up a single land. That's how much I love land destruction. Totally worth it. I'm not convinced we're winning this game, though. We really do need these saw blades on the battlefield just for sacking. Because we have enough mana now. So the trick in the late game with this deck is we can use Fabrication Foundry to sack a random artifact to get back the boombox to blow things up and do that every turn. We have enough mana. I think we need to spend this turn just like putting saw blades on the battlefield for sacking purposes. Even if they're not killing anything, we just got to get them on the battlefield. And then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're 1 mana short. Because we also have to tap the Foundry. Buried in the Gardens on a land. I mean, our land destruction can answer that at some point. Ugh, gonna hit a Foundry. Well, we can sack it. We can sack it to make it 3/3. Oh, but now our opponent has enough mana that if they actually have a Smuggler's Share and some bombs, they can get us. Well, I mean, we gotta run out these saw blades, at least one of them. Now we're definitely short on mana. Ooh, okay. Oh, that is finally a construct. Is it too late? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, all right. Play the Thousand Moon Smithy. So we can boombox next turn. Maybe we messed up last turn. Maybe we just had to sack, like, the extruder? I don't know. We didn't really want to sack anything, though. But not being able to boombox now that our opponent... I mean, I guess in our defense, I also wasn't expecting our opponent to have an enchantment to make their land tap for 2. Well, we're going to get back our boombox for next turn. I am very scared, though, just because we've seen Smuggler's Surprise. And our opponent finally has the mana. We kept them off the mana for a long time, but they finally have the mana for it. Opponent passes. We draw Field of Ruin. We need to attack. Yeah, I don't know if we can afford to tap enough. 3, 4. I really want to attack with the 7/7. Yeah, we gotta wait. We just gotta wait. I mean, at least boombox we can also do at instant speed. Let's attack with the 7/7. See if our opponent Smuggler's Surprises to make blockers. I mean, maybe they don't have it. It's possible. Well, let's pass. Stop on our opponent's upkeep. I feel like Smuggler's Surprise is probably legit busted. All right. Oh, wait. Oh, our opponent's... They're just drawing cards. Oh, that's fine. Oh, wow. So they had the Smuggler's Surprise, but no creatures to put into play? Maybe it's... Okay, they're just going to hardcast a Galta. I guess that also works. So Galta... Top Area Stomper, Railway Brawler, so the Stomper is going to get huge. I mean, that was odd. Okay, I guess they just didn't have enough to put into play to make it worth it. Well, let's boombox. Let's blow up the double land, blow up the Galta. We could use another land destruction spell. If we draw land destruction, our opponent won't be able to attack or block with the Stomper. Ugh, just a land. Mana short from Looping Boombox. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're 1 mana short. I mean, we can get back the Boombox for next turn. Oh, that's the reach animation I was mentioning before, that like bow and arrow that you see on the Railway Brawler. I don't know why they don't do it all the time and it's just on your turn, I guess, so you don't attack into it, but probably a good addition to there are some creatures in this set that you would not think have reach. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess we just got to set up for the future by, oh my god, Fabrication Foundry. All right, get back the Boombox. Play the land. I always mess up Fabrication Foundry. You have to pay mana equal to the thing you're sacking, not the thing in the graveyard. And I get that wrong about every other time. Well, let's see if we live. We shouldn't be... Seriously. All right, Galta. Doubles its power. And to Terror of the Peaks. Well, that's awkward. Aye. Aye, 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 aye. We did not quite blow up enough lands. We tried our best, but eventually, because of Smuggler's Surprise, our opponent managed to get enough mana to cast Galta 2 turns in a row even. That means they must have just top decked Terror of the Peaks, which is kind of a bummer. If they hadn't top decked the Terror of the Peaks, I think we're kind of oddly still okay. So let's block, do a little chumping, run out the Saw Blade. But I don't think this is going to be enough. I mean, we got a Boombox of Galta or we're dead. We can play the Synthesizer to do a little scrying. I think we actually... all right, let's trust in Chimmel. We basically need to find the Wrath. Chimmel is basically the same as scrying one more to find the Wrath, because it's going to give us the Wrath if we can find it. Well, all right, here comes the Boombox. We can blow up the Galta, blow up the land that our opponent's trying to enchant. So I believe this puts us to 1, 2. It puts us to 2. Which means if we can find the Wrath, we still win. We don't have good ways of dealing with Terror of the Peaks. Yeah, we're gonna go to 2. Blocking doesn't really matter because we're dead either way. Well, here's Chimmel. Spin it to win it, spin it to win it. We need the Unstable Glyph Bridge, and we need it right now with Discover off the top. Magic Gods, one time. 1000th Moon Smithy. The Terror of the Peaks off the top got us. Wow, what a wild game. Ooh, wait. Huh. All right, we gotta mulligan this. Betrayed by the... Ooh. Ooh, okay. Well, this hand might not blow up a single land, but this is like the most aggro construct draw I think this deck can possibly get. So, Fabrication Foundry, and then we just synthesizer into synthesizer into synthesizer and make a ridiculous board of constructs. Vraska joins up. Sure. I have been impressed with the joins up enchantments. Well, Synthesizer 1. Do a little scrying. 4 lands. Yeah, Smithy can go bottom. I don't even think we need the Smithy here. We are going to have plenty of constructs even without it. Can you destroy artifacts? That is your test for today. Opponent. Land and Deep Cavern Bat. Sure. This might just be a rough... Wow. Okay, they take the Extruder. This is probably just going to be a rough game for our opponent. Let's Surveil first. We get a Scry 2 coming up. Do we keep... Yeah, I think we actually mill it. I think lands are more important than killing the bat here. Let's play the Synthesizer. Make a construct. It's a 4/4. We can keep both of those, though. Land into Territory Forge is kind of sweet. All right, opponent. Can you beat our mighty, mighty constructs? Vraska. Hey, I see where we're going. Vraska with Vraska joins up. Yeah. I appreciate the flavorful deck building. I don't know where the bat came in, but still, you know. Well, play the Mountain. Yeah, let's just Braided Net here. Braided Net. This lets us tap down the Vraska. Vraska's ability is not going to do anything against us because all of our creatures are tokens. And now we have 3 7/7s on turn 4. Just artifact things. Wow, opponent's gonna beseech. Oh, our Legion Territory Forge. I mean, I don't really care about the construct dying. That's fine. The sad part is we lose our land destruction. Yeah, we'll just do a little surveilling. Spring-loaded Saw Blade. Yeah, all right, that can kill the bat. To get back the Extruder. I mean, at some point we can flip this Braided Net and draw some cards with it. I'm not sure this hand is beatable. Outside of like a Brotherhood End or a Farewell, I do not know if there's any deck that is actually just going to beat triple Simulacrum. Actually, we probably should have just not got this. Surveilling is so good, but we probably should have just got an untap land last turn and played another synthesizer. I don't know if it really matters, though, honestly. We're making so many constructs. All right, 4 9/9s. 2 lands. Actually, normally we're looking for lands. This time I don't think we need them, though. Your go. Let's just tap the Vraska and smack them. They can fire up their creature land if they want, but, I mean, we get in for 18 here, and we still have 2 9/9s back on defense. That is the power of Karnstruct's opponent. Down to 4. Yeah, this Simulacrum Synthesizer might actually be a bit of a magic card. It has played even more powerfully than I thought it would. An opponent scoops it up, and no land destruction, but sometimes all you gotta do is make a bunch of Karnstructs. Brutal. Time to blow up some more lands in Outlaws of Thunder Junction Standard, which I guess is committing a crime, technically. This hand, it's a little slow, but we do have the boomboxes once we get to them. Plus, we got Simulacrum and some removal. Actually, I guess it's fine. Extruder's good early. Simulacrum, one of our best payoffs. And then eventually we boombox you a bunch. What are you up to, Oko? Fast land. All right. Ooh, there's a Fjorge. Well, let's get down the boombox. We'll make our intentions known. That eventually you're going to be very sad about it. Can we draw some lands? How about some lands? Can we scry into... Oh, don't counter this. We really need... The constructs are great, but we really need to scry for lands here. That's the biggest... I think that's fine. Our opponents... What are they going to steal? Random artifacts? Hopefully they don't steal land destruction. We actually need our... Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Come on, deck. Where be... Opponent stole our land. And we draw a spring-loaded Sawblade. Well... 3 more lands, opponent, and you better look out. It's so brutal when they steal what you need with Siphon. Like, Siphon Insight's not, like, absurd, right? It's, like, fine. It's, like, a weird thing twice, but when it steals the land that you desperately need... If that's another land, opponent, I'm going to be so salty at you. Tainted Indulgence. All right, so opponent's going to draw some cards. All right, they played their own land. Okay, at least they use their own land. Slick Sequence to draw a card. All right, that's a land. That's actually pretty good, although we still can't do much. We're going to play the Legion Extruder. There could be a world where we need to sack Boombox to make a 3/3 mountain. Hidetsugu Inkiri. Well, okay, that's a frightening card. Usually bad things happen when Hidetsugu Inkiri come down. Are we dead? Opponent, putting cards back on top. I mean, we do have the Saw Blades. Awkward timing for the fast land. We do have the Saw Blades to deal with it, so we're not going to die to its beats, but we might die to its direct damage from what it puts on the top of its deck. What do you got, opponent? Lilla. Okay. Not a card I expected to really... Ooh. Flotsam. Triggers Lilla. Mill 3 Investigate. Oh, that's actually... super cool. So they cast the Flotsam side, but because of Lilla, they get to plot it, and now they can play the Jetsam side for free. That's actually super sweet. Well, let's Glyph Bridge. Stack the triggers so we blow up our opponent's stuff. How bad is this Hidetsugu Inkiri? Not bad at all. All right, and we get a 6/6. Okay, that went well. So Jetsam, each opponent mills 3. You can cast a spell from each opponent's graveyard without paying its mana cost. I'm surprised this card does not see more play in Commander. 6 mana, cast 3 spells for free seems kind of absurd. The synergy with Lilla is actually really neat. Ooh, there's push-pull, double Hidetsugu Inkiri, legend rule. Yeah, the synergy, okay, I actually this is one of the coolest decks I've seen during early access. That's because Lilla's a card, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, it seems powerful, but I don't think there's enough multicolor instants and sorceries to make it work, but using it as a way to cheat these big split cards into play, actually a really, really neat idea. Now I'm gonna have to go and look in Explorer and Historic and Pioneer and Modern and see what other options there are, because that might be the way to break it. These plot shenanigans. If you're just using it like a feather, it seems really bad. Try to Lightning Helix, get back Lightning Helix. All right, Siphon Insight. Opponent's doing a bunch of brainstorming. We drop to 16. Opponent going to catch the Jetsam for free. Thankfully, our deck is full of artifacts that are probably not going to really help our opponent. Although I guess the scrying's good with Hidetsugu and carry. Our opponent just did a lot of things. I don't know how much progress they're making. Like, okay, we get down to 11. Then this gets sacrificed. Top card. Are we dead? No. Tainted Indulgence. All right, so I guess in the end, after all that, we lost like 10 life. Our opponent cast like so many spells and got so many like brainstorms. They cast like 3 or 4 spells for free. I thought that was going to be a lot worse for us. Well, that's exile land, make a construct. I thought that was going to be a lot worse. Like, I thought we were just going to die. I was kind of focused on how we can build our opponent's deck in Modern or something, because I figured we'd just die, but instead, I don't know. That was not as bad as I imagined. Like, are we winning this game? We exile a land. We have 2 8/8s. Our opponent's cast another Hidetsugu and Kiri. Our opponent's cast about 1 million mana value worth of spells, but they aren't actually making us die. So Hidetsugu and Kiri, brainstorms. They're gonna have a land drop still, right? Yeah, I'm gonna have to try to build around Lila now. The plot synergy is actually super cute. Molten Collapse their own Hidetsugu and Kiri, which has 1 on top. Oh, we dropped a 1 from a Jetsam. Oh, but then they're casting. Oh, are we gonna win at 1 life? Opponent mills. Thankfully, our deck sucks for our opponent. They get a Simulacrum Synthesizer, which will make a construct. No, that won't keep our opponent alive because the boombox, right? We can just blow it up in a land. Wow. Well, I gotta say, shout out to our opponent, Algran Boa, whoever that is. Well, I guess that will also do the job with the braided net. Make a construct, tap it down. Shout out to our opponent for having a super cool deck. I will say, out of all the decks I played, and I played against a lot of cool decks on early access, people breaking out their cool brews. I will say that Lilith synergy, not something I thought of. So even though our opponent didn't end up winning that game, I feel like they probably should have somehow with the amount of spells they cast. I can't believe they got us to 1. They were very close to straight up killing us. And they kind of low rolled with some of their Hidetsugu and Kiris. But that synergy between these split cards and Lila, actually super spicy. Yeah, we're gonna have to try to brew around this. Cool deck. So what do we learn this week about our artifact land destruction deck in Outlaws of Thunder Junction Standard? And the deck actually worked pretty well. So I should say, early access day, usual caveat that I don't really put a lot of weight in early access day records because people are trying brews and it's best of 1. People are doing different things. But record wise, we went 8-4 with the deck, which is a good record. More importantly, we got to do a bunch of super cool things. We got to see the land destruction plan really work. We actually got what should have been it would have been a flawless victory. We had the flawless victory, but our opponent scooped the turn before we could have blown up the last land and actually get the flawless victory. But we got like pseudo flawless victories with the deck. We got to see the land destruction plan actually work pretty well. I was really surprised at how good Territory Forge was. The card actually, even if it's not like completely locking your opponent out of the game, 5 mana, set you back on mana, put me up on mana, actually like kind of reasonable. It reminds me a little bit of like Muluni Acid Moss or whatever that green card is, where you get to blow up a land and ramp out a land. Territory Forge kind of does that, or maybe Annex is another comparison. So it actually felt pretty good. It's obviously great when we get the full-on like lock and you just can't play any magic, but even when it's not doing that, it's like ramping us, it's adding an artifact to the battlefield for all of our artifact synergy, so it just felt really solid in the deck. And then Boombox, some games it's kind of slow and we just like sack it to a Legion Extruder to make a 3/3, but when we get the lock set up, it is absolutely hilarious. And as far as actually like winning games, these artifacts are just really, really strong. That's the biggest thing with early access day, right? Is you're playing all these new cards, getting the first taste of how they play, how they feel, how the synergies are, and I gotta say these artifacts were really impressive. Even discounting land destruction, Simulacrum Synthesizer, the card is absolutely wild. Like, I kind of thought it would be good. I was like, I don't know. It has a 3 mana value restriction, so you can't just like pop off with Memnites and Ornithopters and stuff. But it turns out the card is like kind of busted, and I think it's probably going to be really good in Standard. Esoteric Duplicator, the synergies are really sweet. Legion Extruder, I think this card is actually underrated, even though people are already talking about it as like one of the better cards in the set. It turns out it's actually like incredibly good. 2 damage kills a lot of things, and then if your deck is built around it and has artifacts to sacrifice, it might actually be better Bone Crusher Giant. Because Bone Crusher, I know. You get all the value right away, right? 2 mana to deal the shock, and then 3 mana to get the body. But the upside of Legion Extruder is this just gives you repeated value. And in a deck that has a bunch of useless artifacts to sacrifice, being able to make a 3/3 every single turn is actually relevant. You can even do it at instant speed, where you can like do these cool shenanigans where your opponent attacks and you like sacrifice a spring-loaded Saw Blade to make a 3/3 to block, and then use Duplicator to get back the Saw Blades, and do all these like weird little tricks. So the deck has a ton of synergies. It's way more powerful than I thought. Plus, it can get flawless victories. So what more could you possibly want out of a standard deck? So that is blowing up all the lands in standard. That's been our deck for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Looking for even more magic? Well, check out this week's Budget Magic, where we did some plotting with Slickshot show off on just a $50 budget. Or maybe the Against the Odds, where we played the greediest Grixis deck imaginable.